So, can you hear the music there? A wee bit. So, this here is the main room. We'll get people that come in and they start businesses in here as well. So there's only some of the 3D printers we're putting out, 7 along here, vinyl printers. This is you get into the traditional buildings that you're accustomed to. These are the 2 rooms that we're going to use.
Sorry Martyn, it's quite difficult to hear you with the music. Maybe we could turn that down a wee tiny bit.
Any better? Can you hear me now?
Just a wee bit lower.
Just watch this. I'll pause and we'll do it that way to make it a bit easier. Right, okay. CNC router. So what we had, I'll flick through this way. As you can guess, it's a 3D printer. You won't believe this, but the children, when they come up from primary school, will sit and watch a 3D printer. It's like watching paint dry. They find it fascinating. We then have the router, the CNC router, and the architects come in and use this quite a lot because we offer the facility to other students when my students are not on campus. They have to pay a membership, whereas the tech ed students get in for free. You just book in. We then have, I'm just going to go, the laser cutter. Now, when you see the laser cutter working, I'm just going to zoom it along. People watch that all the time. These are the things that you use in the schools. This here is a PCB board for making electrical circuits, which is part of your engineering science course, which is the more up and coming subject at this moment for technical. We then have the traditional practical rooms where we're in. I'll show you a project I've made in a minute, which is what the first project that you would be doing to get you engaged and working on some of the tools. So the wee office that I'm based in is in here, and I'm obviously based in the Lord Hope building, which is across just up the road. And if anybody that was hearing me talking about food earlier, that's the building there, out that window where you go get your food. And if you ever get to know me, that's how you talk to me, talk about food, and you've got my attention, right? So that's the practical room as we're going about. So what we also do is we bring in adults and people coming in. We've got a few massive success stories. We've got one person who's present and trying to sell their design to Starbucks and Costa. So all of us who have thermocups and you go and leave the house with a cup in the morning, excuse me, and you want another coffee, they're encouraging to recycle, but they're dirty. But when you've got the new machines, it's really hard to clean them. So he's now developed and patented the design, and it's a 7-figure sum that he's looking for it, and it looks as if he's going to easily get and exceed. And that was all designed and manufactured in the Fab Lab. And he was a mechanical engineer, but our students as technically to see all of this coming in. These are the students that come in. That's the electrical circuit stuff that we've got stored in. I was using that today actually on campus. Obviously this isn't us, this is the children because they've got a lollipop and a balloon in their hand here just now. That's my predecessor. It's not me after a shave, right? It is my predecessor that's on this picture. This is the room with the children that are in it, and that is the engagement you get. They are totally focused on it. You'll see something in a second there. They're doing a design on a package that we use, which is serif, which will get you accustomed to. He's not picking his nose, honest. Somebody asked me that a few weeks ago there. What we've got on here is the laser cutter, and the children watch that and are focused. That goes right all the way up to 6th year at school. So basically they come in, and within 2 hours they leave with their own personalised keyring that they've made and developed. So what do we do? We've got all of these other things in. It's open between 9:30 and 5 o'clock. We've actually moved it from 9 o'clock till 4:30 now, so that we can get time to close up at night time. But we had this. Now, I'll tell you what they did here. You will laugh at this, right? So when I came up here, before I got the job, they got me to do a wee thing. Oh, Martyn, you've got to try this. This is the VA. So I tried it on, and it was a roller coaster idea, right? I'm just going to press pause to say, stop there, right? So it was like a roller coaster. So we sit there and I had this on, and you're moving about and you're looking about, and it goes down a dip and it comes to where water is like it's sprayed on you and they scream. Well, they threw a bucket over me. I screamed, right? Don't worry, we won't do it to you, right? So that's it. We have a very close community, and we really do work hard, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about now for some of the things that we've got in there. I thought it was worthwhile giving you an idea of what's in the backdrop behind me and so you can see some of the facilities rather than just going straight to PowerPoint and blah, blah, blah. So I can put the blah, blah into context with the drawings, if you don't mind. So as I'm talking to you and trying to find my slide, I've got here, we go, share. Now, can you see that screen okay? Right, thank you. So, hopefully this will work. There we go. Right, so we're obviously here to talk about technical teaching. If you're not here for technical teaching, please listen. I might convert you to come to the good side. Right, okay? Because it is a great subject. Well, we teach 5 subjects, which no other department does. They all either do 1 or 2 subjects. So we are by far leaps and bounds in front of everybody. We're one of the few departments in the school that can say, if you do this subject, it can help you get a job here. Whereas other subjects, it's a wee bit looser to be so successful. So that's me, Martyn Hendry, teaching fellow. I've got my colleague who works with me, a person called David Greekin, teaching fellow, and he helps me along with the course as well. If you've got questions, you can go to HAS PGDE, as you can see, it's on here just now. I've been told to say that we are 4th in the UK for education, and we are pushing to go even further, and that's because of the long experience that we've got in the history. We used to be based in Jordan Hill, which we'll talk to you about maybe later, and that was an establishment just for education. We are leading this ahead, and for this course, we produced 72% of technical teachers for Scotland last year. So we are set very high, and we have a very strong number. We talked to you about the staffing we have in a minute or two. So I just kind of said to you where we are. Here's the foundation where we come from. We moved, we became a faculty in Strathclyde. Actually, that was my first year at uni in '93. So there's a bit of useless information for you already. And Lindsay, the technician, that she started working for us that year. So we both started the same year, one as a student, one as a member of staff. We moved down to the main campus where we are just now, and we are over on the right hand side. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but that's the entrance into the building over here, just behind the tree there, and we're just up to your right. We are ranked very highly, and we're very proud of where we are. We have 2 approaches how you can go into this. You can go into the undergraduate course where you do 3 to 4 years, right, within us. So if you've got a BSc course, if you've got an HND degree, we can let you come in and join us in 3rd year so you can do your BSc. If you've got a degree, you can come in and then join us to do the professional graduate diploma, which is the one in the middle, where you've got a 10-month programme, which we'll talk to you about how everything is involved within this in a second or 3. You'll hear this acronym TIS, right? It's the Teacher Induction Scheme. Every university, college, school uses acronym cities, so it's time to start learning your acronyms now. Sorry, right? And sorry doesn't stand for anything other than sorry, right? So you've got the flexible route, which we could talk to you about just quickly. So basically, your first year you get so to qualify for this, you get provisional registration. You then have to move on to this scheme where you do 1 year in the school in your probation year. The SPS, which is the Scottish Placement Services. It's not Scottish Prison Services, somebody asked me. It's Scottish Placement Services. And they will assign you to a school within a region to which you are asked to go to. Or you can do it over 2 years, which is a flexible route, and you can then move between schools and do it through supply in different ways. And it's down to personal preferences, and we can talk to you when you're on campus about that, what's better. It's not, this isn't the best way, because what's right for you isn't right for somebody else. So it's best to be a one-to-one conversation, that one, if you don't mind. So, overview of this course. You blink, you miss. That's it in a nutshell. It's a 36-week course. You've got 18 weeks, and it's not 18 weeks and then another 18 weeks in the school. We split it up, but it's roughly, I'm going to say 8 weeks on campus, then another 8 weeks out on placements. Then we'll go in between that. You're in for the odd day just to check up you're still enjoying it and how we can support you. Within the placements, we will then use the SPS again to ensure that you've got your nice school within an hour and a half's travelling distance. Now, think of what I am saying. If you've got a car, it's an hour and a half's travelling distance. If you don't have a car and you have to go by bus, it's still an hour and a half's travelling distance. Some students have not had a car and then they get a car later on. That doesn't mean you have to get moved further afield. So that's one of the ways to look at it. We're trying to make sure we get you accredited to the General Teaching Council, which you must be registered for to teach within us. And if you can get to the opportunity of 120 credits within the course, which I'm going to talk to you about how it's split up, you can work towards your master's level. So this is the bit I was going to talk to you about. So the bottom one, which is professional skills, which is curriculum and pedagogy, which we just call C&P. That's where you're going to be based with me on an all-day Tuesday and all-day Friday, hopefully when we return to campus full time. Now, we are the only university that provides you with this vast amount of time because we need you to be upskilled in this. Some people have said, well, I want to just teach a subject. You know, you're a technical teacher, you teach them all. So the way we ensure that is because you have 2 lecturers working with you on the Tuesdays and the Fridays, and we have 2 amazing technicians who also support you for the other days when you're not timetable for the class, that you book into the Fab Lab to further develop your skills. And I don't just mean in a practical room, I mean in the graphics room, the engineering science room, etc., etc. You've got ESPV, and the acronym, which is Educational Studies Professional Values, if I can speak and read, please. This is basically introducing to all the values we need to have within teaching, making sure we're addressing discrimination, poverty, what the attainment gap is, the funding areas, etc., etc. It's actually quite interesting when you get your eyes fully open to what's actually happening out there. Within technical, I'm very lucky where my previous jobs, which I'll bore you about later, I am very friendly with one of the HMIE inspectors, and he is the senior HMIE inspector for technologies, and he comes and gives us a chat every year as to what we're looking for. And I believe at this moment in time we're the only class group that actually has HMIE coming in with the head of Education Scotland's technologies coming in to talk to us as well. So that supports you with your educational studies for ESPV and your PLTE, professional learning. It's getting you to understand all those courses and how it works within schools. The benefit I give you is we have the big bosses from Education Scotland and HMIE coming in to give you that support to take it forward. To the extent, that last year, last year's a bad year, we don't talk about last year, the year before that, HMIE went into one of the schools and I had one of my students had the meeting with Bill Geddes a few days beforehand, weeks beforehand, and Bill said, if you ever see me in school, just come and talk to me. And HMIE is like the tax inspectors who don't really want to go and talk to them. Right? That's a nice way of placing it. So my student went up and went, hi Bill, thanks for that talk the other day. And the techie department went, don't talk to him, right? Right, they were like, so Bill then says, all right, and he came down and talked to him in the department, and they don't invite them to your department, you keep them away. So head teacher came down, do you know him? And he says, the lecturer gave us a chat, he gave us a PowerPoint and what to do. That student had only been in the school for 2 days at that time, and then that night he was doing a presentation to all the managers in the schools, principal teachers, to explain what they were doing. That's how important the schools rate this person for PLT, and that's how much I rate them, because I want them in there to help us. So if you can get collectively 120 points in here, which means your assignments, which I'm going to talk to you about, your exams in a minute, there are none, smile, there are none, right, there's S's, which is a bonus. So long as you're going above 50%, you're working towards masters. You don't have to, if you fall behind in some of them, that doesn't mean you lose your master's points, you can still work on them at another time. So, the course content. We have you in here, we teach 5 subjects, which I'm sure you can all find out exactly what the 5 subjects are, because you're obviously keen to become technical teachers. With this, we then train you within all the fields, using all the technologies and facilities that we have in there. We bring in technical teachers coming in to give us points and tricks and tips to what's really happening. We have a really good colleague from East Wren who comes in and gives us a graphic communication, based the standards and approaches and the most up-to-date things that's happening. A couple of people from from Glasgow City Council, and they come in and they talk, I'm going into trouble for saying that, right? But they come in from Glasgow City Council to actually talk to us and explain what the latest strategies are. But also with David Greekin, who is my colleague, he was the principal teacher of technical within Glasgow, which basically meant he was in charge of it, how it was all running, and he's got the most up-to-date information on what's happening within that field. So what we can offer for you in the course content is we give you hands-on practical experience, we talk you through the science, we talk you through essays, we talk, when I say talk, it's actual hands-on. We get you to sketch correctly. Now, there are quite a few architects have joined us this in the last few years, and they all say, oh, I can sketch, no problem. Yeah, we can all sketch, but can you sketch a way to make the children and support the children to be able to sketch in the class? I'll give you another idea. I had a cabinet maker who, now, my practical skills, not being too big-headed, are pretty good. They're good, right? But looking towards this person, I was absolutely rubbish compared to he was so good compared to me. And he actually said to me, you need to tell everybody this, so I'm telling you this just now. If you get anybody in here, they need to learn that they've got a degree and they're basically qualified to write for the Guardian. They're now at the stage where we're having to retrain them to start to write for the Sun, i.e. lower your approach and how you're taking everything, do it bit by bit and make it a bit more simplistic, because he couldn't do some of the practical work because he was trying to keep it at the very high level he was doing for being a cabinet maker. And once he actually realised that to not lower his standards, but reduce the quantity of approach rather than break it into smaller sections and remaining from sections, it was able. So we do that for every area that we've got within our course. So, placements when you're going out. Your first placement, you will be out for 8 weeks. I was right when I said that. You're not really trying to take the guess how long it was because you forgot. Your second placement, it's actually, it should be 2 blocks of 5 you're going out for. So you go out for 5 weeks. You're in on campus for roughly 4 weeks after Christmas. You then go out for 5 weeks and then, hey, it's Easter holidays. Yeah, I told you if you blink, you missed something here, right? So you get 2 weeks off. Or is that recuperation? I don't know, right? Okay. You're then going back out to another school for 5 weeks. You're hopefully then going to pick up on the areas that you need to develop on and work on and support on. We don't expect you to be perfect from day one. If you were perfect, we wouldn't be needed. So that's a positive way to look at this. And then you will have a visit and three visits for your 36 weeks on total when you're out on, no, sort of 18 weeks when you're out on campus and in school, should I say. And that works quite well. So it'll either be David, myself, or if our numbers increase anymore, we might have to get somebody else to support us. So, assessments. That was the most important bit I think everybody wants to hear. We don't do exams on this. And it's a real shame we can't see faces because usually folk go, thank goodness, right? Okay. However, what we do have is some 2,000 word essay and a poster with a 1,500 essay information supporting the poster, academic poster. And we'll talk about that. So the first, the 2,000 words, the ESPV, and other ones, the curriculum, which is the poster. As I said to you, you can work towards diploma level and you'll still get a job. The same, there's no difference between 10 and 11 for getting jobs. For career-wise, people are looking at the masters as a more positive approach. And I would encourage you to go down masters because we are the only university in Scotland that's offering the masters within the teaching course route at this moment in time, as far as I'm led to believe. It is definitely within the technical side anyway, which is what we're after. We can give you a maximum of 120, and I think it's 200 credits, don't quote me on that, that you need for to get to your masters, but we can support you on that.
I think it's 180.
Well, you enter a wee bit higher, right? Thank you, right? Thanks, miss. Right. So basically, you're 2/3 of the way there. So that's an absolute fantastic bonus for you. And then all you need to do is become a doctor with us, right? That's your next step in your career. So dual registration, we are not doing it because we do 5 subjects. So if you want to do a dual, it's not in this course. It's impossible. I've just left that in there so that I actually highlight that. Entry requirements, we are looking for, if you've got product design and engineering, product design and electronics, yes, we can take it. Product design by itself, we're not supporting that just now unless you've got other credits to severely support you because we need more than just design. We can have any of the engineering, mechatronics, construction, technology, architecture, computer-aided drawing. The list is in front of you as to what we've got in here. Graphic design, it has to be graphic design with CAD. It's not just graphic design without it. It's that somebody said, oh, I was good at making news articles and posters. That's not the graphic design that we're actually fully looking for this. So we're looking for, as you can see, we need, this is the criteria, and it's not a university policy, it's through the GTC standards which we're looking for. It's higher English, the minimum of a C. If it's a C, it's done. If you don't have that, though, I'll give you a wee helping hint here. If you go to Aberdeen University, there's two in there, so I don't know which one it is. Leah can maybe support me in this, right? You can do a distant learning course and you can get Literature 1 and Communication 4, which gets you an equivalent of a C pass, right, with no exam in this. I love that term, no exam. And that then bypasses the higher English at C level. If you get those two modules, it then gives you the equivalent of a C pass. National 5 Maths, I really expect higher than that because you're teaching engineering science, and if you're struggling to get a C at National 5 Maths, you're going to struggle in my subject at engineering science. However, we won't say no to you if you've got evidence to develop the skills later on. We would like you to have experience with young people, as in children. However, we do appreciate with the COVID, it's exceptionally limited to now. So a bit of common sense is used here. So that's the normal format. But I'm saying, well, got a bit of common sense. If you turn around and say, I like looking after my neighbours next door, a wee bit more than that could help, but it wouldn't go, it wouldn't be negative. Let's put it that way, right? An ability to relate to other people is exceptionally important. So how does it work? I don't know if you want to butt in and you want to talk through this, or do you want me to do this?
Either, if you like.
I'll give you the.
Getting some strange feedback. Are you hearing like an echo?
I didn't know. Sorry, no.
No, maybe I can just hear it. If anyone like is hearing that, just let me know in that function. So you can submit your application via UCAS. There's a date there, which is the 15th of January. It was actually extended to the 29th of January this year. Yeah, see, someone's saying that I'm getting a strange echo. I don't know why that's happening. But you can't hear it, Martyn?
No, I can hear a slight little bit, but that's it. For me just to talk through then.
You talk through it. I'll try to put my earphones in, see if that helps.
You're the first person that's ever said, keep talking to me. Right, okay. Right, so I'm recording, I'm going to keep this. Right, so right, you can go to the UCAS format to how we normally go. If you don't get it in for the end of January, we potentially could keep applications open until we get to our numbers that we're looking for this year. So don't look at the date and say that's it for this subject. We're quite fortunate we can extend it quite well. The date that you may wish to talk to is HAS, as you can see, it's on there. If you send your documents in through the correct format, I'm sure Leah will be able to jump in a second to actually say where the paperwork goes in. However, if you do get an interview, we are finding that there's just with the sheer backlog and interest just now and with the COVID, we normally get back to you within a short period of time. Please be patient just now. We aren't ignoring you. It's just we're inundated with information just now. And like my inbox, there's 80 emails that I haven't even looked at, and they just came in yesterday and today. So I'll maybe get to them next month. Oops, right, okay. We'll get you to go to an interview. The interview is really, really strange. It's in your house, your bedroom. Please don't do it in the toilet because that does echo, right? But we're doing it on Zoom. It will be good to have somebody that was there to get silence from the house, right? Okay. So we'll be asking you a couple of questions, getting some feedback, making sure that you know what we're looking for to get the support and everything going about this. Incidentally, if you've got a first or a 2-1 and you get an interview quick enough, you can contact Skills Development Scotland, who can know our acronym, SDS, and they are still offering the £2,000 grant per month, the right to study the course if you're quick enough. So it's limited amounts and it's for technical, it's all STEM subjects, basically.
Not sure if that's been confirmed that that's definitely going ahead this year.
I'll talk to you later about that. Right, okay, Leah. Right, okay. But it's you want to look at that as a possible option then, as we'll discuss it that way just now, right? Okay. What happens is we then, with your paperwork and your information, how you present yourself at the interview, there will be a decision made and you'll be notified normally within the week. But as I said to you, it could be finding it's the delays 3 weeks, isn't it? And it's just the process because we're off campus just now, backlog of paperwork, and we're just don't panic if you haven't heard anything. That's what I'm trying to say to you. If you've been unsuccessful, you can contact us and we can give you information support so that in case you want to maybe try again the following year. I think that's me. Right. So fees and funding, I'll leave that on there so that I don't have to talk through the slide. One thing I hate about when you watch people and you read from a slide, it's like, no, I can't read. Right? Sorry. Right? So you can contact through the first heading, which is the one, I don't know if I can highlight that. No, I can't. This one here, you can look up that and you can get your information to get your funding. You can British person, Scottish person. It's the rest of the UK or the EU, you get your funding through this website here and you can apply for it. And the scholarship entry will be published in this winter. So I'm not too sure about that information. So I'm sure you can look that up for scholarship funding. And okay, I've left that on. That is our website that we've got just for technical teaching. There is a bit where you can apply for teaching, but I definitely think what you want to do is contact Haas Education for questions, and even ask Leah or myself just now. So I think that is me. It is fantastic. I told you it was going to be quick, right? So that's kind of me covered that.
Great. So we do have some questions. Can everyone hear me now? I don't know. I think lots of people have said in the chat that there's an echo. I don't know if it's away now. It sounds like it's away now. So, okay, good. So we've got a couple of questions here. I'll just start reading them out, Martyn, and then I can answer the ones that are application related and you can answer the other ones. So first question is from Kit. He asks, is there an advisor to help us figure out route and funding options? So if by route, I wonder if you mean whether you should go down the BSc route or the PGDE route.
If you've got a degree and if you've got a degree, you do PGDE, the 1 year course. If you don't have a degree and you've got an HND, you do the BSc route, and that's 2 years with us. That's the route. For funding, we've just placed that on the last slide on there for you, the information.
If you want like tailored advice to your situation, then you can absolutely send us an email and we could help you out there. We'll be happy to take, we're always happy to look at people's transcripts. If you've had to look at your own transcripts and you're a wee bit unsure, you think, do I qualify for this or not? We're happy to have a look at them in advance. If you're making your application, we can let you know if you qualify, or maybe if there's a couple of gaps in your application, we can advise on how you could top them up. And again, with funding, if you'd like us to talk a wee bit more about that, then we'd be happy to advise you on a more personal level. Oh, he's added a wee comment here. I have 2 degrees from the States and I'm studying for my Masters in Education right now at Strathclyde. So we can absolutely accept applications from international students who have international qualifications. What we would do is we would ask you to send us a copy of your international transcript. As long as it's in English, it needs to be translated into English. Obviously, you're from the States, so it will be in English, but for those from other non-English speaking countries, it needs to be translated. And we can take a look at those transcripts for you and see if you have the relevant credits and see if your degree is the equivalent to a UK bachelor's degree. So we use a service which is called NARIC. You don't need to do that. We would access that for you and check that you had the relevant credits, the relevant GPA, etc. So if you want to send us an email, Kit, with the details, then I can take a look at that for you and we can of course access your Masters that you're studying with us at Strathclyde. Okay. Oh, he's asking for the email. I will type the email in the box so that everyone has it. Sorry, yes, it was on the first slide, I think, but that's no use when we come to the questions. I'll just type it rather than saying it because again it's the acronyms and it gets confusing. Okay, so next question. Is there a focus on the difference between primary, secondary and college age?
Right, we are secondary schools. That's what we do. We're teaching technical subjects in secondary. Some people could go to college, but it's not a natural route to go down. And we are not teaching you to teach primary, we're teaching you to teach secondary schools. Although when you go into schools, you sometimes can be asked to go down and support some of the primary teachers periodically, but you're not really going down. So you're really looking at the ages between 12 and 18 that you're going to be teaching. That's the main criteria to which we're working and addressing.
If you are interested in primary teaching, it's a separate PGDE programme. So there is a PGDE primary education programme, which is a general programme for primary teaching.
And you might actually see me doing the technology bit as well. So,
right, a question from Linda. Do the Tuesday and Friday teaching days take place even during the placement weeks, or are placements Monday to Friday school attendance only?
You do when it's on placement. That's when you're in placement. So the 8 weeks you're in school basically every single day apart from 2. Come back. You can basically come back just to see how everything's getting on and a wee chit chat, so that we haven't just thrown you out and said see you later, so we can keep in touch with you. So no, the Tuesdays and Fridays are when you're based on the campus. When you're out on school placement, you will stay out on school placement, so that you look like a proper teacher rather than somebody that's, well, the teacher shadow. Right, so we want you to be the proper teacher when you're out there, so we will let you be out there. So no, you'd be on campus or you'd be teaching, but you don't split the two together.
Okay. Another question from Kit. How do we know about the levels if we are not from the UK? I'm not really sure what you mean by the levels. What levels? Maybe.
I think it's looking at the English and maths. If you've got your degrees, let me see your degrees, or let the HAS see your degrees. They've got, as they were saying, she's got the facilities to actually cross-check everything where you're going. But we need to check your maths and we need to check your English. That's the key important ones. Sorry.
Yes, sorry, I didn't pick that up. Yes, Kit, so like you're from the United States, so we would be able to assess your high school diploma, or if you've sat the like ACTs or the APs, like any, we would be able to take a look at that for you. If you can send us a copy of your high school diploma, we would then be able to check for you if you have the relevant level of English and maths. Another question from Kit. He would like to know if we would be able to get a copy of the slides. So, yes, that should be no problem. If you send them to me, Martyn, then I can distribute them to anyone who would like the slides. If you want to send us an email, request them. This has also been recorded, so we can also send you a copy of the recording if you'd like to watch it back.
Yeah, I'm watching it when you said keep talking.
Question from Blair. I graduated with a master's degree in architecture back in 2009, but didn't attain a grade C at higher English. Could you please reiterate the information concerning the Aberdeen distance learning? So what I can do is I'll try and get the link for that, if you can bear with me. So basically it's an online access course. It's called just Aberdeen Access English. You can find it if you type into Google, but I'll try and just get it up just now. So as long as you take the course at SCQF level 6, then that would meet the requirements. It's a flexible online programme. You can study it in your own time whenever you've got the time. It costs about £350 roughly to sit it.
Yes.
And I think you can sit it you can start it at any time, I think, so it's quite flexible. So if you want to apply for entry this year, you could sign up to that course now and apply now. Let me just send you, I'm just going to pop that into the chat. So this is the link. If you click on that, there's also one for maths if anyone's, but you shouldn't be lacking the maths, but as we've already discussed, but I'll look for that I'll look for that just now, sorry. It'll just take me a wee minute.
So I'll talk about the other question.
Yes.
I see the question there where it's from Jasmine. Apologies if I missed this. I know the deadline's passed. Basically, we are not doing clearance at the moment. We are still got it open. So if you submit your paperwork later, does it come straight to Haas Education now?
No, it still goes via UCAS, so still need to submit your application through UCAS. It'll say, yeah, that the deadline's passed, but just you can still submit it.
Right. We will take you on. We've got a number of spare spaces at this moment in time. I'm actually interviewing nearly every Monday for the foreseeable future at the moment. So we're looking good for numbers. So if you are interested in joining the course, I'm not just doing this as a sales pitch, but I wouldn't leave it until May because you've probably got no chance in getting in because I will be full. The unfortunate thing for the head of education for University of Strathclyde is I am restricted by health and safety law to 36 students in the room, the two rooms. It's 18 per room, and I can't go any more. So I would love to take more, but I physically can't just do the health and safety requirements. So there was I've missed the question here that I got. Is there any pointers for the interview you could give us? Right, and basically read up on what we do in technical teaching. Find out what's really good, find out what areas you need to work on, find out what areas you think you'd excel in and tell me why. Give me examples of why you want to be a technical teacher. The last thing I want somebody to come and say is I want to be a technical teacher because, well, I get made redundant and there's nothing else. What you can say is tell the truth. I've been made redundant, I'm looking for something different. I realise my skills are absolutely fantastic for here. I've got friends and colleagues and people I know that have went down this. Tell the truth. We're not here, once you get to know us, you realise that we're not here to try and trip you up or be nasty. We just want to know we're getting the right people that can talk to young people. Give us an example of how you've worked with people. Like you maybe get a question like that. I'm trying to give you hints about the questions, and this is really difficult. Right, okay. It'd be easier if I just said, here's the questions, right, come and talk to me. So find out what it is that we teach. Look up what subject is it that's they're growing, and what subject is it that's failing, actually, or falling apart, and its numbers are dropping. Right? That type of information would highlight that you've been doing a wee bit of work to find out what we do. I'm trying to read the next one.
Oh, sorry, I was just filing away the ones that we've answered. So
sorry, you're not there trying to read them out. Right. If you have experience in all 5 subjects, you will be absolutely super amazing, and you're the only person that's ever had that. What we do expect you to have is experience in some of them. We don't expect you to be absolutely brilliant at practical work. We've found that when we've got people that come from architect to say, oh yes, I've model made. Well, we don't do model making, we do projects. So we'll develop your skills that you've got if you've been doing architecture or product design and engineering. Because we need to get your skill set up so you can make the practice joints, do those elements. But that's where the facilities that we have at the university is better than I've ever seen any place that it has, because we have this, like on a Monday when you've the ESPV class on, you're only on for 2 hours, and we then expect you to come in and complement your training and get extra skill set. That's the difference that will help you. We use a drawing package called Inventor. Now, it's like driving a car, right? So you can, if you ever notice when you go to buy a car, you've even just got a new car, you've got to upgrade wherever the positions are, where the radio is, where the wee silly things, right? The heating dial is, right? This package is much the same. So if you know how to do a drawing package, it's training you up on this. The only difference is we've got a web page one. You then go through this, you basically plug yourself in with the earpiece now, the earphones on, listen to this person, and you press pause, do what it tells you to do on Inventor, and it will tell you how you get Inventor for free for your house. Press play, you follow it through, and you go through this course. This is one of your bread and butters for schools. So we need you to be able to be, when you're going out in placement, not amazing, but competent enough to present the woodwork, the metal work, the graphics, the engineering science work, and that's what we do on a Tuesday and a Friday, and we complement that training on the other days, if that helps. So I know you won't be good at them all. That was a quite a long-winded answer, sorry.
I think you gave the gist there. Right, a question from Emily. Is there a GCSE or A-level equivalent for higher English grade C requirement? Yeah, so the GCSE equivalent is a GCSE English language and English literature at grade C or above.
Glad you knew
I look at so many of these and I know that all off the top of my head. Right, so Brian says, it mentioned on the slides that you have to send in your supporting documents within 21 days of your application. Will these be requested or should you go ahead and send them once you have applied? So we'll send you a prompt email after you've made your application. We'll send you an email and it will tell you what we need to send over, but if you've got them ready and you've already made your application but you haven't received that email, then go ahead and just send them to us, Brian. Just make sure you include your UCAS ID so that we can match your application and your documents together. I can put that email address in.
So can I answer the one from Jonathan, which is below? Jonathan, yes. What we do is we send out an email to you the week before you're having the interviews. We're restricted in a timeline for when I'm doing them. As I said, I'm doing them mostly on Mondays, but this week I'm having to do a batch on Friday, tomorrow. So you will be, if you submitted your application form in and you've been accepted for an interview, I don't have access to this at this present moment in time. To go on that, I would have to go off this site and come off the meeting. If you'd have had a decline by now if you weren't being accepted. So can you bear with us and we'll get to you for your interview, please?
Kevin.
You answer the employment prospects. Is that?
No, you go ahead. You take that one.
If you've got a pulse, you've got a qualification, you're desperate for teachers. However, we're only signing people off who are competent at it. We're not just signing you off, so don't think, oh, this is an easy touch. There is a national cry for technical teachers. They are so short. Glasgow City Council colleagues will contact me and go, Martyn, have you got any? There's I think there are 4 schools this year that are running short of technical teachers at this moment in time. So there is a national shortage. If you want to go and get your North Face jacket on and your thermal undies, you could always tick the box and go up to the Highlands or Aberdeen. If you don't know what I mean by that, it's called Shield League time, and they're screaming out for technical teachers. They'll welcome you. They'll probably come down in a car and pick you up. They're that keen to get technical teachers.
Oh, sorry, I've just clicked somebody's by mistake there. I think it was Judy was asking, is there a balance between male and female students?
I don't know to answer that other than this year. Yeah, I'm actually looking at my list, right? So sorry, right? It's close to 50-50 this year, but I don't have a quota, I don't have numbers, I just take who's right. So it's not like, oh, I need to have so many females and so many males. We take you on a first come, first served if you are eligible for it. So one year I've had more females, other years I've had more males. This year I'm just a one-off being 50-50. I've got an odd number this year. Right, so yeah, so that the balance doesn't quite go that way. As in, it's not like some employments say, oh, I need to have a female here because I'm short, or I need to have a male there. We don't have figures or stats to consider that, and I wouldn't entertain that because I want the right person for teaching.
I think maybe just in case you're worried, Judy, there are other females on the course, so it's unlikely, I guess, that you would be the only one if you were wondering if you would be outnumbered should you wish to apply.
Out of 32, I've got 19 females.
So hopefully that answers that question. Sarah, sorry, says, I'm an engineer and lacking a degree just now. I don't think I could afford to give up work for the 2-year BSc course, so I'm looking for a quick part-time degree. I currently have an HND in CAD. Can you recommend a good degree I can get part-time?
Oh.
You might consider having a look on the OU to see, the Open University, sorry, to see if there's degrees on there.
See if you contact me separately. I'll look into. I'll talk to you. I need to know what your. But this isn't a chat I'd like to have over a webinar where public are hearing it. Please, if you contact me, I'll be happy to contact you. It's martyn.hendry@strath.ac.uk, and I will gladly help you out. That's not a one I want to talk to you public because it's personal information I need to talk to you about. If you don't mind, please.
That's fine. Right, that's just lots of nice thank yous for all the information. Joshua was asking how many places are there within the course?
We can, as I said, the maximum I can take in the PGDE course is 36. However, my figures don't mean I have to get to 36 because the way how things work out, but I'm aiming for 34 students this year. That's my target. So I would encourage you to please apply as quick as you possibly can. I was actually talking to my students today, and I'm going to tell you sort of a wee thing that happened to me, which made me realise why teaching is so good. Right? I was embarrassed to be a teacher on this occasion, right? And I'm trying to sell it, and I'm telling you I'm embarrassed, right? Okay. On a parents' night, this mother came to me and she said, I know my son's an idiot. I'm quoting their words, this poor woman's words. And she was deflated. And he's not. He's just a really nice guy who doesn't know when to stop talking. And you're saying, are you talking about yourself here? But no, it was somebody else, right? He was getting into a wee bit of trouble. Long story cut short, mother explained that she'd split up with her husband and he kind of went off the rails. And she says, can you help me? We're one of the few people he actually respects. And that's what you find in technical. You know, they'll hate this, that, and all the rest, but they'll love. There's a different dynamic in our subject, and that's something which you can't buy, you can't make. It's just a natural thing that occurs. So I spoke to the wee boy quite strongly. I told him his mother was in tears. And I was embarrassed because the wee boy started crying. He went, I'm not upset her that much. And you're like, oh, all right. So he says, right, every week. And I discussed this with his mum, and I said to his mum, I'm going to say to him, I want to see him every week, every Friday, at lunchtime, we'll wee chat and keep him on track. You know, I set his targets the following week, and she's like, could you? You could see the woman was on her knees, right? So anyway, they kept this going. Then after a good couple of months, is right, just come and see us every second week, right? And we'll have a catch up chat. It's actually quite good because he was sat there with a cup of tea and it was nice. You could see the progression. I could see through the rest of these schools because I was able to track what he was doing. I was being nosy, right? And I saw that he went from being not that good in grades in school to actually becoming quite focused because we're giving him targets and talking to him. So anyway, did his higher graphic communication, got him through, and then he never realised I've lost touch with him a wee bit. And then at Christmas time, he said, sorry, I've been lost touch. I'm applying for uni. Can I put you down in the list as a referee? I was like, of course, I gave him the right, so I gave him what I had to do. And then he was leaving at the summer, and he came to me, and he had tears in his eyes, right? And I'm like, oh, hell, what's wrong this time? You know, I thought I succeeded. And he went, my mum's given me this to give to you. It's your, I have to tell you this, it's your fault. She's skint for the next 4 years. I got to uni, and I'd never have got there if it wasn't for you. That's what teaching's about. Not getting the bottle of beer, by the way, right, or whatever it was, right? It's getting that success. You don't get it that first day. Sometimes it could be, which I've had as well within teaching, you're going down the town and this person says to me, and I was a wee bit offended at this one where he says to me, you Mr. Hendry. He goes, oh, you put a bit of weight on. I just wanted to say thanks. You know, you were great. I just didn't recognise you could put a bit of weight on. I'm like, she can't rascal, right? He wanted to thank me for the support and he said, I'm sorry for not always paying attention at school. So you don't always get the reward there and then. But see, when you do get the reward, oh, I can't describe how happy you are. So that's me. I'm going to stop talking unless you've got more questions. If you do, please get in touch.
I think there's one more, sorry, Martyn, just before we go. Another one from Linda. She says, given the pandemic situation, have the PGDE students still been able to learn online?
Of course, yes. We couldn't qualify them this year. So this year what we've been doing is we have completed more aspects of the theory content online every Tuesday, most Fridays. However, what we haven't been able to do is as much practical work that's essential. That's kind of across the board, and the schools that are going out on placement are aware of that situation. But as soon as the pandemic's over, that the schools won't support you to the same level, hence the reason we're the only university that offers you the Tuesday and Friday and the extra top-up days with the technicians. So yes, we have been able to do that.
Thank you. Obviously, we really hope that we'll be able to return to campus this year. We all really want to, and obviously the university will only do it when it's safe to do it and when the Scottish Government allow us, but we're very hopeful with the vaccine, etc., that we'll be able to get back on campus this year.
I want to get to the bakery.
Exactly. Be first in line. I think that's all the questions, unless anyone else, will just give it a wee second just in case anyone else wants to add anything before we go. You get a nice comment from Judy. She says she's very encouraged.
Well, thank you very much.
But otherwise, if you go away tonight and you think of other things, then we're very happy to answer questions via email at any time. I put the email address in the chat function there, so if you've further questions, don't hesitate to get back in touch with us. As we say, we're very snowed under at the moment, and we're really trying our hardest to get through all these emails, but they're coming in thick and fast. But we will get back to you at some point as soon as we possibly can and get those applications in, I think. So I think that's all of our questions. So thank you very much to everyone who's joined us, and I hope it was helpful, and we'll see some new applications.
Hopefully we'll see you soon. We're really looking forward to seeing you. Remember, if you're successful to get an interview, read up and find out what we do. How are you going to support teaching? And I don't expect to turn around and say to anybody you're going to be the world's best at something, but just tell us what we do in schools and reflect. Here's something for you. What teacher is it that you can remember positively at school, and why? That's why